All righty, boys. We are live for the first time. So we'll see how this goes. Not a lot has happened in the baseball world this last week, huh? Uh, now we got a lot to dive into.
I think someone will say this is our biggest show yet, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're
This is
trying
our
to
biggest
get
one.
this 30 minutes or less, but that's going to be probably the biggest challenge of the night.
That'll be a first.
That'll be a first. Guys, there's a certain guy that signed with the Mets. We're not going to talk about him. We won't lead off with that guy. We're going to lead off with our guy, Dick Allen. So he did it. So if you've been following our socials, we've been smacking you guys in the head with how we feel Dick should be in the Hall of Fame. And justice was served. Dick needed 12 votes. He got 13. So, boys, he's in.
Congratulations, Dick Allen. Congratulations to his son. 13 out of 16. They finally righted a wrong. I'm not going to get into why it took so long. I'm just happy that it's finally done. This was literally his last chance, so it could have been a really bad blemish on the committee, but they got it right, thankfully. And now, who knows? We might have to go up to Cooperstown and see Dick Allen and his family celebrate the plaque now.
July 27th, 2025, Cooperstown, New York. Stay tuned. The Red Corner will be planning a trip. Coolies, that's our spot. What's the main drag in Cooperstown to call it again? Do you remember, Bones?
What do you mean?
Like the main
road?
The main street?
Yeah.
Main Street?
Main Street?
Was it called Main Street? All right.
I think so.
Easy.
Yeah.
Well, they got two bars, and we went to both of them a few times. So,
what do you think? Do you think the Phillies are going to do anything for them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So let's look forward to that, right?
Yeah, they'll have a nice crowd up there.
In case you can't get up to Cooperstown, let's keep an eye out for the days and the nights. The Gallon nights might be for the Phils here.
We got the commenters, the peanut gallery coming in. We saw Kevin said we're late to start, and Eric said looks good, boys. So it looks like we are doing the right thing, and this is working. Thank you for the feedback.
Yes.
Both positive and negative.
That's a start.
Yeah.
We did not want to keep you in a virtual lobby, Doc. We did not want to keep you in a virtual lobby.
But yeah, so keep those comments coming, boys. Any questions? Throughout the show, we'll keep you guys included. We'll definitely have some dedicated sections for just comments. But yes, sprout it out. Anything you got? What were you gonna say, Bones?
The only thing I want to say about the Dick Allen thing, Chris touched on basically everything else, and you did with the trip up there.
Yeah.
But I don't like how the family had to find out watching TV. Like you see, every year they have the phone call, and then you get the family's reaction, oh yeah. Finally get the call from whatever the guy's name is, or I don't know if it's James Ford Clark that calls him, or that guy that they had reading it out. But usually they get that phone call, and I think that's pretty cool to see him watching on TV. That kind of sucks. He found out just like the rest of us.
Yeah, I think that comes down to just the Hall taking themselves a little bit too seriously and wanting it to be all very secretive and by the books. Look, it gave you that really cool moment.
But they do it for a regular player. In January, they'll do it when they reveal that, because you see videos that the players post and stuff like that. Nobody does it the NFL Hall of Fame, though.
Did you see Charles Woodson? I know this is NFL, but did you see Charles Woodson get into the Hall of Fame? How he got asked? Because I got a question for you, Bones. Would you rather take a phone call or have somebody knock on your door wearing a mask and telling you that you're in the Hall of Fame? Because Woodson, the guy, no one else was in mask. This guy came up over his shoulder and inducted him to the Hall of Fame. You couldn't see his face or anything. Everyone else is, showing signs.
COVID mask?
Yeah, he had a COVID mask on. Yeah, exactly so. And Woodson was sitting poolside.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think the phone call is good. It avoids a lot of awkwardness.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, again, thanks again for all the comments coming in. We just see D. Wilson saying she agrees or he agrees on the call. So thank you for that comment. Just calling you out on that. But, boys, congrats again, Dick Allen. You are where you belong. Any closing thoughts on that. Oh, and by the way, if you have not yet checked out our Dick Allen content special, we dropped like a 19-minute video on why he should be in the Hall of Fame, which now he's in there, so it's a little bit even more special. It's right in our
we got him
YouTube
in.
channel. We got him in, yeah, just a little bit. At the very least, we spread some awareness, right? So check that out, and you'll also see down there in the corner all of our socials: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. So give us a subscribe on that as well. Boys, we alluded to this earlier. There's a certain someone that just signed the biggest deal in sports history. Juan Soto, to our rival Mets, signed a 15-year, $765 million deal. Slim, thoughts on that one?
I think good riddance. I mean, he's going to be hitting bombs against us, but the problems I had at the World Series was the defense. I know there's a lot of people, a lot of fan bases are out there coping, saying we gave our best efforts. I'm actually celebratory of the Phillies fan base that we're not coping like that, because the fact is, Juan Soto down the line is a DH. That's too much money for a DH. We see here in Philadelphia the issues with having 2-3 people with a DH. If you have one person who's going to be a DH, that's going to be problematic. That's too much money. Enjoy it. He's going to hit dingers. He's like, him and Alonso are going to be scary, scary, scary. No doubt about it. Lindor in that lineup ahead of them. They're going to be scary. With that said, I'm happy we didn't make that big of an investment. I think we're likely to even potentially get the better player if we get Crochet from the White Sox. I would argue that that's a better player for the next 10 years than having Juan Soto. So we'll see what happens. I still think we can win this all season.
Bones, before I kick it over to you.
Yeah.
So I heard Buster Olney and Jeff Passan actually talk about this, which I was surprised how honest they were being, saying how this was not a great baseball deal. Now, what do you guys think is more likely to happen? Number one, this is setting the bar, meaning the next big free agent is going to be looking at this deal as, hey, this is where it was 5 years ago. Or do you guys realistically think that we might not see a deal get this big for 15, 20 years because everyone's going to look at this in 6 years and say, whoa, that was not worth it? What do you guys think is more likely? Bones, start with you on that one.
So next year, the biggest guy that is going to be in the free agent pool is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So I don't know. Like, he's a different position. I don't think he's the same age as Soto. I think he's a little. He's not older.
I'm gonna confirm that as we speak here.
Okay, but he's somebody. But he's not as athletic as Soto. Like, not athletic meaning like his body's way different type. He's
right
on the slim and bone side here. Like, he lost some pounds, but he's on the slim and bone side.
No, they're both not necessarily defensive plus players for sure.
Yeah, but that's the guy. Like, we'll see next year if a deal like this was going to happen, because he's the next guy in line.
And actually, it'll be the exact situation. He's 25 right now, so that's surprising. And shout out Ron Doe. We got our first Mets troll in the chat here saying, "Let's go Mets." Boo.
And Alonso's not even guaranteed to be on the roster, Chris. So
that's true. I think they'll get him back.
And Crochet's not going to be pitching in 10 years, so it's another one.
Well, we'll see. So what do you think about the deal? It's a win-win, no-brainer.
I mean, I think it's good for the Mets. I think it's good for the Mets. I wouldn't have went that high if I was the Phillies. I think, like I stated, I don't want to go like so much, but we knew going in that Cone wasn't going to get outbid, and he wasn't.
It's good for the Mets because they got Juan Soto,
Yeah.
right? And they beat him. They beat him out from the Yankees, which that's got to be so sweet for all the Met fans. And which the crazy thing was, and I have some theories on like the Blue Jays, for example, but there were reports that Blue Jays, Yankees, and the Red Sox all went to $700 million. Now, it seemed like the Blue Jays, my theory is they just threw that $700 million deal out there almost as like to make the fans feel like, look, we're really bought in. But the reality is, I don't think that they really thought that they were going to get it. I think what they did was basically what Middleton and Dombrowski wanted to avoid, right? The dog and pony show, pardon the pun, right? Because we just consider ourselves the stalking horse. We weren't going to get involved with that. We weren't going to waste time on, bringing Juan Soto all around town when we knew that he was staying in New York, which is exactly what happened, which is exactly what Bones called from day one. So I'm glad that the Phillies didn't waste their time on a guy that was just going to wanted to be in New York and just wanted to get the highest bidder. Simple as that.
And the truth is, like you were saying earlier, what's going to happen to the contracts? Well, it's going to be hard when you have these ruthless agents once the market's set to bring it back down. But with that said, if there's ever a time for it maybe to kind of stagnate itself for a couple of years here, it's because of Cohen and the Yankees here. Because how much, I guess he could just keep going in and in and in, because we see the Mets strategy here. They had the money up front. They're paying these people. It seems like to me Cohen's making that splash. Does it get old? Who knows? I'm not sure. But I think the big takeaway is Cohen, again, his money, and him officially making, because we're in a whole new, the Mets got to win. They haven't won since the 80s. So they're hungry to win. Cohen's hungry to win. And this might be that first step, like the reverse jinx of the Bambino, but the jinx of the Juan Soto going over to the Mets. Maybe they start winning a ton of World Series and they rub it in little brother Yankees face. I would love to be alive to see that. Talking about the whole transition from New York to New York, not as a Phillies fan whatsoever.
Right.
With that said, the Phillies, we'll get into it later. We'll get into how the Phillies can counter, not just now, but long term.
But I don't. I think the Mets still have to make improvements. Like, they're most likely going to lose out on Alonso. Their pitching got worse. So, and their pitching really wasn't good to begin with. I think they had a hot stretch. I don't think they were like above average by far.
Agreed.
So now they
Their
need to
pitching last year
retool that.
was good from London till now, and a lot of it was Manaya. These guys were pretty good. And remember, who did they get back? They got the Senga. He's back. The big thing is, I think losing Manaya is huge. Man, if they lose Alonso, I think that's huge. I think they have to figure out a way to bring Alonso back, especially as long as Alonso. I know as a Phillies fan, he's a guy we love to hate. I personally kind of like him a little bit. I like his brashness. Really? Yeah, I do. So I would like to see him be a New York type of guy and go back there. I think it would be good versus for our rivalry as well. I think it would be awesome if both us and the Mets are going back and forth all summer long, and then you mix in the Braves, who have been the standard the last 30 years, really, in the NL East.
Another interesting thing, hopefully this is the last thing I'm saying about Soto. A big part of him signing with the Mets over the Yankees was stuff with the security
I
at
saw that.
Yankee
That
Stadium.
was hilarious.
Like, he had got into it with security guard there back in like early in the season, and then his family got into it with with security guards there about like getting in. So Cohen basically got a $500,000 suite every year for his family.
Yeah, Soto's got his entire family has a suite that was valued at $500K. Have you guys seen some of the memes that's going around on that? It's so the joke was obviously that his family got ejected from a game. So there's a bunch of like backstage like wrestler style things of people just getting the crap beaten out of them. They're saying it was his family.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of when they said, didn't they say Cliff Lee and his wife got spit on, or like Cliff Lee's wife got spit on?
I was actually going to say that during the World Series up there.
Yes.
So I mean, hey, I don't blame
like
them. I think some of those New York fans, man, we've seen it.
I think it's great that the Yankees are losing out on free agents now.
Yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah.
so too. I think it's great because it's embarrassing for them. So I do like to relish a little bit in that. It is a shame that it goes to the Mets or yeah, just stinks that it went to the Mets this time. But I think I'm kind of happy we didn't do it. You know, like if Buster Olney's happy, Jeff Passan happy, I'm happy. We're three baseball guys, so I think we know what we're talking about. Have fun with Juan Soto.
All right, are we ready to stick a fork in that one for a while?
Yeah.
All right, let's transition to some Phil's specific talk with the winter meetings. So, more importantly, the Phillies kicked off the winter meetings with the solid deal, right? So the Phillies signed right-handed closer Jordan Romano, who most recently with the Blue Jays. Um, Bones will talk a little bit more about him, but just to give you guys a little background, this is a two-time All-Star, real deal guy. Last year's numbers were not great. A lot of that was due to an elbow injury. So obviously the thought process here, but the Phils is take a one-year flyer, for lack of a better word, and hope we get the old Romano back.
Yeah, and that, like you said, it's a 1 year flyer. 2 years ago, he was a All Star. He was like, I think it was up until like August. He was like almost like clean,
Top
like a
closer in
clean
baseball.
slate. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I don't know what happened after that, but he did pretty. He still did good, but it wasn't like he was. And I think it's a great move because one, he can get back to that. Apparently, the surgery went well. It was at the end of the year. They were thought they were going to get him back sooner. It said it was going to be 6 weeks, but it lasted longer than that. But I think it was just an injury. It was only inflammation, so they just went in a little scope. I think it's a great deal. 1 year flyer. The only thing is, uh, he's not guaranteed the closer role. They said,
Saw that.
and does this mean they're out on Tanner Scott, which is a lefty reliever that I thought that they needed.
So my initial read on that was that so I had, obviously I've been online all day about this. I've been seeing some people reading this as now they're out on Jeff Hoffman. I read this as they're out on Estevez more than
Right.
anything.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my next question is because that's how I see it. So
Yeah.
I want to confirm with you guys. How much money did they give the guy
8
from the
million.
Blue Jays? And 8 million is a lot of money. How much is Estevez going to get? I think that's something we need to discuss because really, I liked Estevez as a closer. I said it a month ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. I would still like to see him come back because I don't know this dude. I already has the 2 All-Star appearances. He didn't really pitch last year. It looks like.
Right. He was
It's a risk.
non-tendered by the Blue Jays, who
He
are the
better-
closest to him.
He's not even going to definitely be a closer, so that's interesting as well. Are we going to get someone else in here? I don't know, but if he ends up being like option 1A or 1B here to get a chance at closing, he better be good, especially if we let Estevez walk because I think Estevez is an easy 40-plus save guy if he's here next year.
That's extreme. Easy 40-plus saves nowadays.
I think
you don't see that as much nowadays. But no, listen, I went back to the tapes when we last had this conversation. You both were pro Estevez, so I'm glad to see you stand by that. I was pro Hoffman. Now, speaking of Hoffman, one, where are we at now? So there's all this rumblings going on nowadays. Clay Holmes just signed with the Mets they're going to convert him to a starter, right? Former Yankees closer. So now this is the new copycat league, right? All the relievers want to be starters. I have theories about that, right? Because number one, their agents want them to get the most amount of money. They're going to get more money as a starter, right? So now every closer, every reliever and their mother thinks they're a starter. So Jeff Hoffman wants to be a starter. A lot of credible reports have said. One, do you want him back at all? Would you try him out as a starter, maybe bridge the gap to Painter? I know that's a funky scenario, but where do you guys stand on that?
I'm out. I saw the idea of like bridging the gap to Painter.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't like that idea at all because one, it makes no sense for Hoffman to be like, oh yeah, let me pitch for half a season and then I'll go back to being a
Right.
reliever. So
Yeah.
like that really, I'm shooting down that idea. Hoffman himself, if we bring him back, I think we have to try him out there. Because if you, it's always going
As
to.
a starter.
Yeah, because you're going to have to be open to the possibility because it seems like he's pushing the issue, which is pretty interesting for relief pitcher. These guys, again, the MLB player empowerment is starting with some of these relief guys. I would be for it. We can never have an as. I would be for trying him out, not as a bridge guy, but as a guy to be there all year. So I know we got a lot more moves going on.
Right.
But if we were to sign him, I would be pro him starting. He has enough pitches. With that said, there's a lot of relievers in free agency. I see that our names are tagged to a few of them. A couple of these guys I think are pretty good. So I'm not saying Hoffman's the best guy out there by no means. But if we were to sign him, I'm definitely open for him to start.
Bones, where are you at on that?
I'm bullpen. I would like to bring him back in the bullpen.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know what kind of money he's going to want from the bullpen, or if he goes to the bullpen.
Right.
Like he wasn't like the last 2 years we talked about. He kind of, I don't know if he like overworked himself in a regular season, so he like struggled in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can get back to that, like we signed Romano, so not looking for a closer role. Can we get an Alvarado, a Strom, Hoffman kind of Kirkering combination in the like 7th and 8th? Maybe he can be, if not, he can be the middle reliever. I'm for that. I don't see him going like 4, 5, 6 innings to get us, like all year. I'd rather see him in the middle relief to like 7th inning range.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or 6th to 8th inning range, I'm sorry.
So
Bring him
with
back
that
same
being,
role.
I don't think he would want to come back then. I think he'll probably go somewhere else.
Well, Dombrowski's already I don't know if he's just playing some posturing going on. There's already reports that he's saying that he doesn't think we even need to sign another reliever. And he's been playing that game all
I think it was more of a high-end reliever
Okay.
that he was talking about. So I think that like kind of eliminates the Tanner Scott. I don't know about the Hoffman thing.
Got it.
But like the Mets thing, he sat for a little bit after a high leverage situation, came out, and he like kind of stunk. So is that like bullpens? They're like weirdos, and like closers, they're all like like all them dudes. You gotta be there's something in you. Like it's all about like routine. Pitching's like all about like regular starting pitchers are all about routine.
Oh yeah.
Is Hoffman going to be able to like sit in big stretches? That's like a big thing. So
It's a
that's
great
why
point.
one of the reasons I'd rather keep him in the bullpen, especially after that game 4, was it? Or was that game 5?
I think that was game 4.
4, yeah, because they didn't make
Yeah.
5.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So let's.
But Thompson talked about him over pitching
Okay.
there. I remember Thompson talked about, it seemed like Hoffman was trying to make the perfect pitch every single time in that appearance. With that being said, making the perfect pitch, I feel like you'll be naturally more relaxed if you know you have extra innings coming. So
No,
I don't
that's
know.
true, for sure.
I feel like his mindset, even his postseason mindset, we see wasn't great as a reliever. He definitely has some good stuff, right? He throws like 97-mile-per-hour fastballs, right?
Speaking of 97-mile-per-hour fastballs, let's talk about the other big dog, Garrett Crochet. So there was a report by Chris's boy, Bob Nightingale, over at USA Today, and he said that the Phillies offered Alec Boehm and Justin Crawford, top 3 prospect for Garrett Crochet. Now, Nightingale's reporting that the White Sox rejected the concept. So, my question for you is, did the Phillies have concepts of a plan, or did they actually have not a plan at all?
Well, the truth is, and first first I want to say you never see Bob Nightingale and me in the same spot, and there's a reason for that, right? Because we're thinking the same exact thing. We're pretty much the same guy. The
That
truth is,
concept of a plan one thing went right over both your heads, by the way.
no, the concept of a plant, it did, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the reference is towards right now.
Okay.
But the truth, I want to get into,
Moving
because he
on.
even Nightingale follows up with Bohm not having the market that the Phils. That's what that tells me.
Yeah.
They don't have the market that they thought that you could maybe slither Bohm into someone. No one's buying it, you know. So, but
Yes.
at this point, I think last year, I don't know they dangled Bohm last year. We know they dangled Castellanos last year. But at this point, I think the Phillies 100% know who they have to get off this bus, you know? So if we're going to get a low-end reliever or someone else for Bohm and Castellanos, I think we're definitely going to be seeing these guys moving, maybe even, like you said, Suarez in that. And that the White Sox package is going to be all prospects. That's all. The concept is you can't trade Bohm. You can't center a package on Bohm because he's not worth anything. You know, so now the deal is just for Crawford.
That's extreme. Bohm's
Well,
worth something.
Well, it doesn't seem so according to the White Sox. They want
I don't
Crawford.
think he's not worth a lot to the worst team in baseball. That's what I think the Bohm situation is. He's not a great pairing for that.
I kind of agree with Chris. He's like his value is not as high because he's got a year or two left, like contract wise. He's not really a good defensive player. Like he's about average now. He's gotten better.
Right.
His power's not there that they thought was going to be there. The Crawford thing, like it spices it up, but it's still not going to. They're going to have to add more, especially for starting pitching, because there's not a lot out there on the market.
Right.
So that's probably why they're kind of maybe the Phillies aren't overvaluing them. Just based off the market, they're not getting enough back. Like, because you even look at Seattle, like the trade they offered Seattle, like they kind of laughed at them because they wanted George Kirby or Logan Gilbert.
Right.
So that tells me that the deal is going to be extremely prospect heavy. Probably everyone who's not named Miller and Painter, because Painter is not even like a prospect. We're so ready for him to be here. So I think we avoid doing.
And he's untouchable too.
He's not going anywhere.
That's
right.
been reported
So
pretty.
right. So it's not even worth talking about him as like a prospect. Crawford and Miller, I thought, all right, maybe it will have to be both of them. But the truth is, it's going to be Crawford and probably everybody else. Who else is like Abel, whomever, you know?
Yeah.
I went through, I seen a list of like 6 names. The only 2 names that popped out were Crawford and Abel. So, again, press send, get the deal done.
Taillon.
Yeah,
Plus, Bill's not real young either. He's 28 years old.
That's another good point. Yep.
So it's 3 years away from Bregman, but Bregman's been in the league how much longer?
And
so point blank, right? So Nightingale said that they're going to take the best prospect package that they can get. Do you think the Phillies have that in them to land him? Or does that involve Miller?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, exactly. Good answer.
I hope it gets done.
Okay. Who else do we think we're moving this week? Do we think it get done during the winter meetings? Do we think we get?
The Astros I saw are making Bregman a priority. So if that gets done, that's going to be a lot of money. I don't think that's going to happen either. We have a lot of. I'm not going to say we have a lot of flexibility, but like I said, there's dudes we absolutely got to get rid of, and then we just got to turn the page and move on. How Castellanos, to me, wherever if we can get rid of him, that's going to hopefully clear up some money to do something else. Again, I'm not sure what Dombrowski is thinking, but I don't know. Where are you guys at?
This is the problem with the Bohm situation, right? The pairing with him is with a pitcher. Bohm protected Harper last year. Harper 95% of the time, right? And he did a pretty darn good job for a lot of the year. So you're moving out the guy who protected Harper, and you're getting a pitcher back. So who the hell is going to be protecting Harper, right? I know Bregman's out there, but it's this situation the Phillies are in is not John Hunter protection isn't real. There you go. This situation that the Phillies are in is not as like cut. It's not as simple as we think it is. It's not.
Like we said, you said if I could make no moves and we just got rid of Bohm and you just plug Sosa over there, you already probably have a plus on defense. So I would be fine with that off the top.
Sosa stunk with defense last year. He hurt them a lot.
I would take him over Bohm. I wouldn't even think about it.
Not every day though.
Yeah, he's not.
No, I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want him there every day. But I'm just saying.
But I wouldn't be surprised. Look at the team we got Sosa from, the Cardinals, and Arenado.
Yeah.
Do
I
it.
like that.
Do it.
All right, boys. Anything else we want to get out of our system before we transition to the kitchen?
No, I'm ready for the kitchen.
And Hunter, we're gonna have to get some of your protection theories on that.
You gotta get him on.
Oh yeah, we'll get him on. Coach's corner, baby. Let's see here. Let's get the kitchen. Bones, let's start with you this week, man.
Mine in the kitchen at Slob Rex Ryan at ESPN talking about Soto just going after the money and kind of blaming the MLB Players Union. Not blaming them, but saying it's $5 million, so he took with the money because of the Players Union. It wasn't $5 million. They had the
opt out.
Yeah, the opt out after 5 years unless they offer him $55 million per year more after that fifth year. So it takes up to over $800 million. Yankees weren't offering that. Plus they added an extra year.
Yeah.
Less money. So tell them to stick to football. Go try to get a job in the NFL somewhere.
Yeah, that was the common Yankee, fan narrative that it was only $5 million, and that was not the case at all. I saw that was funny. And Rex Ryan, I mean, I don't follow that show at all, but I was very surprised to see him commenting on baseball. I guess he's just like a general talking head now.
I had no idea. I guess he said he wants to come back to coach.
Yeah, he ain't getting up coaching. He sucked. His dad sucked. His brother sucked.
Damn.
Ouch. All right.
Slim, what do you got for us, baby?
So for me, I'm thinking about the long term, and in the NL, who are our biggest competitors right now is the Dodgers, and how are they dealing with building their team? Well, we see what they're doing with the firm money, right? I would consider them, and I have a question before I get it, because I'm going to break down a few teams here, about 4 or 5, maybe even 6. Before I get into it, which team and which style would you want for your team? Because these are all pretty unique, I think, and I'm going to try to do them nice, short, and sweet. The Dodgers, right? They have a ton of money, big market. They're deferring a bunch of money, and then meanwhile, their ownership or their stock guys are making money in the meanwhile. The second option is the New York Mets, right? They have a guy he might be one of the richest people, if not, he's like a top 5 richest person in the world type dude. So he's just blowing cash out his woo-ha. The third one is where it gets a little interesting, is the Atlanta Braves, right? How did the Braves build their team? Well, it looks like they just capitalize on foreign players not being able to make good deals, right? When you go and you look at the Acuna stuff, they get them when they're young. They have a certain type. They try to keep it cheap. They're able to compete, but we haven't seen as many World Series throughout their entire franchise. I know they got one not too long ago. Now, that leaves us. All right, I don't know too much about the Red Sox. The Yankees from the outside seem like a crumbling empire. Now this leaves us with the Phillies. And the Phillies seem to me like they don't know how much money they're going to have in the future. They got people buying in now. And to me, they seem like the gambling team, right? They seem like they're the gamblers of all these market teams. And I'm hoping that they have a long-term plan here, especially if things if this offseason doesn't go well and we start fizzling out, then what happens long term? You know, you don't want to get in a streak where there's 5-6 years of us not playing well and there's no brand or identity, and we invested 100 something or who knows how much money into Trey Turner, and then we invested who knows how much money into Bregman, and then these guys are just not panning out, and we're like in year 6 and 7 in these deals. So, and I believe this is kind of how the model for these 4 franchises, the Braves, the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Phillies, are going to continue probably for this next decade. If you're a fan base, who would you want to be a fan of?
There was a lot going on there, Bones. Were you able to piece anything together there?
I would never want to be a Mets fan, so not them. Dodgers, they got it. They can do what they want with their money. I think it's a great idea because they draft well. So each year they're going out, and when they need to fill holes at the deadline, they're able to make trades because they got the pieces in the minor leagues. Like, I feel like for the last 7 years they've been trading away top prospects, and every year they still got top prospects in Major League Baseball. So they're doing something right. And if the Braves have been a model, I think they had like a 4 or 5 year stretch where it was like they weren't bad. It was like below Brave standards, but they stuck with it. Kind of did like a flip, and it took them way shorter than they thought it was going to be. And they got all these guys signed, the core of their lineup signed for the next 8 to 10 years. So they're doing something right, but they're going to lose out on Fried this year. They're not going to give him the contract that he's seeking. He's probably going to be either a Red Sox or a Yankee. So they need but they got pitching. They'll find something. They got the talent to do that. So I would say either the Braves or the Yankees, or Braves or Dodgers.
I think the Dodgers is the kind of the proof is in the pudding answer, right? Because what do they have, like 4 or 5 pennants in the last 10 years? They have 2 World Series. I mean, they're there like every year. It's what it feels like. They spend the money. They bring
go.
on players. Oh, we got the crazies going. Who's the louder of the two? Is it Nitty or Reese?
That's Reese, because he's the one getting beat up.
Yeah, he's the high-pitched one.
I just think the Dodgers and the Mets are both kind of like what the Yankees were.
The Dodgers and the Mets are currently please don't put the Mets in there.
What they are, though. When it comes to spending, they absolutely are. They're going to be in all these.
The past few years, yeah, you're right.
It's not going to change. They have, like I said, they have the billion. They have this Steve Cohen guy who is. I don't know.
He had those 2 really bad pitching signings. I mean, like they're kind of. This Soto, this cures a lot of the pain, this signing for sure for them, but I wouldn't say that we can kind of consider them a success until we fast forward a few years.
I think they're going to be around for. I think they're going to be spending and in the conversation.
Yeah.
What now? Do you always win when you have the biggest payrolls? No, not always, but I think we can expect the Mets and the Dodgers to always be in the top 3. For the next, like I said, probably 10 years here.
And most of the time it takes the payroll, right? Like the Royals,
a lot of times.
Were the Royals like the only team that weren't in the top? Like,
well, the one team that does it is the Braves. And the way that the Braves do it is they draft well, but then they capitalize on some of these younger foreign prospects. The Phillies have never had best.
Jesus, dude.
They're right next to us.
They're going crazy.
The Phillies never had great success with the international prospects. They never were. I mean, they are a top spending team, but usually a tier below whoever's 1 or 2. It's just going to be interesting to see how this next these next 4 years, next 4 to 6 years.
Point. All right, boys, let's transition to. On this day in Phillies history. What do you got?
No subscriber questions this week?
No subscribe because we had all the nice comments this week. So
they got any live questions? Come on.
Yeah, let's see. We'll do a live question segment.
All right, this day Phillies history. The Phillies bought Connie Mack Stadium off the A's for $1.65 million.
Damn.
That was in 1954. And then 1985, they traded Ozzie Virgil and Pete Smith to the Atlanta Braves for Steve Bedrock, and Milt Thompson. Bedrock won the Cy Young.
Milt Thompson.
Oh, wow.
Great guy.
Phillies.
I've met him a few times. Class act. Yes, anyone who's watching, if you want to drop a question, we'll dedicate the last minute or so here to listener questions. But anything else on the? Was that the last thing for on this day in Phillies history?
Yeah, there was nothing else. Couple scrubs. Tim Worrell, 2003. Guy with the shark teeth around his neck.
Got it.
Yeah.
He was a nut. Talking about weirdos at bullpen closers.
Don't be shy, guys. Give us a nice question to close out the show here.
Is there anybody watching still?
Yeah, we got. Oh yeah, there's people watching. Absolutely.
What about the guy that's about to get posted? Think the Phillies are going to get him?
Oh yeah, so let's.
Or is the
close
ham
on
and
that.
cheese not good over here?
Yeah. So Roki Sasaki, they're saying that the Phillies are favorites. That's the
One of the
I can't
favorites.
believe that.
That's the good news. The bad news is there's 7 favorites. So good luck with that.
What about the guy that's coming next year? Do you see this guy? I think he's a right fielder.
Yeah, he drops bombs.
Yeah,
Guy's a
let's
beast.
get. I'm honestly hoping we get that dude.
Yeah.
If we get this Suzuki, I don't really think we're. I don't think we're in the wrong.
Yeah. Well, no, you're
I
talking
don't-
about the left fielder for the Cubs, right?
No, I'm talking about the
Oh,
pitcher
sorry.
that's coming over from
Sasaki,
the NPL
yep.
or whatever. Sasaki.
Yep.
I didn't think we were serious contenders for Sasaki. I guess some things open up. I thought he was definitely going to the Dodgers. I'm still going to count in.
They're
the
one of the
Dodgers.
favorites too.
Yeah, so I'm still going to include the Dodgers myself. Again, we can talk about the sandwiches, but you guys know my thoughts on the West Coast culture compared to the East Coast culture.
All right, boys.
The
On
guy
that
from the
note-
Cubs, I'm in on the
You're in
Cubs
on that?
player too.
All
Yeah.
right, boys, let's close shop here. Thank you, everybody, for watching our first live episode. We will see you next week, and we will be following the winter meetings very closely. Have a great week, y'all.